Welcome, everybody, to our Meadowlands Pace preview and review show. We had a really exciting weekend last weekend, Greg, and really looking forward to this Saturday.
I would say we're as excited as anybody. If you're a fan of harness racing, how can you not get pumped?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people talking online the last few days just about what a stacked program it is from top to bottom. We get a few of these each year in the sport, and they're the ones we really look forward to.
Yes, and there's plenty of divisions of each as well. The Stanley Dancer and the Del Miller and the newly renamed Jerry Silverman Memorial as well. Two divisions of that. And something kind of cool as well, we were doing the Fox Sports broadcast, and I had a couple people from there text me and say, wow, it's a really stacked card on Saturday. And I just think it's kind of cool that the thoroughbred world is even seeing how fun our sport can be.
Yeah, they do. Every once in a while, right, we can reach out to their audience, and when it's maybe a great horse coming along or an incredible program like this, and I would suspect some of those Hamiltonian hopefuls that we're looking forward to later this summer are helping a little bit in that regard as well.
Yes, definitely looking forward to that. We'll see Carl and TCI and Highland Kismet. We were just talking a little bit earlier on about how stacked that race is.
That's probably other than the Meadowlands Pace, my favorite race of the night, that second division with TCI, Kismet, and a couple of other ones that we're going to talk about that I think are serious sort of sleepers in that division, and that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Carl gets away from all of those rivals, and again, we'll talk more about that later on.
Yes, we are going to take a little bit of a preview of what's going to happen on Saturday night, and then we're going to actually jump back and look at those two elimination races that happened on last Saturday night. But first, we're going to talk about some stats, some post position winning post positions, and how many each post position has had, drivers and trainers. So we'll bring up the winning post positions here at the Big M for the Meadowlands Pace. Post 5 is the top post position.
Yeah, post 5, not shocking to me, right in the middle of the gate, and the driver can see how things are unfolding, and if you've got that push button type horse, then you're going to get away at least relatively close to the pace and in a striking position from there. So yeah, not shocking to me. That'll belong to Gem Quality this year. Legendary Hanover will be beside him. That post has produced 3 winners from 47 starters over the years, I should say. The other interesting statistics in terms of post position productivity, post 3 and 8. Nijinsky, probable favorite this year from 3, and one you like in Captain Luke gets post 8.
I was just kind of looking over that again really quick, making sure I was reading that right, and I just mentioned to you off camera that I really do think Captain Luke could be very sneaky good in there. Post 5 is the winningest post position in Meadowlands Pace history. The winningest driver in Meadowlands Pace history is none other than John Campbell, but T-Truck is closing in.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you think John Campbell won this race 7 times. That's not surprising. He really owned the Meadowlands for a couple of decades, and is the greatest, or certainly one of the greatest all time in many people's lists. So for the Bionic Man, Tim Tetrick, to be even within range of that mark is incredible. And he's done it 6 times, a lot of them coming in recent years, and this year's got his hopes pinned on Mirage Hanover. Good post to work with, and another one that I think could get there with some racing luck and a little bit of magic, and T-Trix had the Meadowlands Pace magic for sure.
Yes, he has another guy racing, or another driver in the Meadowlands Pace. That's Yannick Gingras. He won with Tall Dark Stranger, a Rock and Roll Dance, and Beach Class. This year he picks up the drive on Gem Quality with Dexter going with Funtime Bayama.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a quality colt. Last year he would have been considered one of the 2 or 3 best probably in North America, went on top of his game. Just hasn't quite found that form yet, but last week's elimination, very good effort from him.
Very, very good efforts in the elimination last week. 3rd start, Lasix. And of course, like we had just mentioned, he will have the winningest post position in Meadowlands Pace history. Winningest trainer in Meadowlands Pace history. Well, that's Brett Pelling with 4.
Yeah, Brett Pelling. We were talking a lot about that this time last year. And of course, he was able to add another trophy to his already impressive collection. His Confederate was the dominant winner from last year. And Bill Robinson, number 2, all alone in terms of wins with 3, and then a number of guys with a couple of Meadowlands Pace trophies to their credit. So we'll have some this year. We'll have a chance to make it their second with a win this time around.
Yes, a few of those going into that, like you had just mentioned. So very interesting. Winningest driver and trainers, of course, Tim Tetrick looking for 7, like we had mentioned. And I think there's a good chance with Mirage Hanover, if you, like you said, if things shape up and kind of mix up. And that kind of leads me into my next segue with the eliminations, kind of the way they played out, because one was 1 through 8, they lined up, and the next one, it was just all movement. Yeah,
couldn't have been more opposite, really, in how they did play out. The first one, it was a real chess match, a game of cat and mouse. All drivers seemed to have the same mindset. They were trying to sit in and conserve as long as they could, and that worked out beautifully, of course, for James McDonald and Legendary Hanover. Now, he really wanted that kind of a trip after having to do a lot of the heavy lifting in the Pepsi NA Cup, where he finished 5th. He raced really well, but that's exactly the kind of race they wanted to get into him last week, and the Colt responded in a big, big way.
All right, we're going to bring up the first Meadowlands Pace elimination. Like Greg just mentioned, it was won by Legendary Hanover. James McDonald and Anthony Beaton will bring in that replay right now.
And the raw Legendary Hanover is out fast on the inside with Gem Quality and Mirage Hanover on the rail. Those 3 across the track here as Captain's Quarters just floated away with the Number Cruncher 5th on the inside, followed by Ivy Park. And to that one's inside, Better is Nice. Lagging early there, Mickey Ray and Remember the Alamo. Up front on the engine, Mirage Hanover and Tetrick setting up shop there. Gem Quality second. Opening quarter, 26 and through. That's 26 and 3 for the opening quarter across the backstretch. Mirage Hanover and Gem Quality 1-2. Legendary Hanover tracks from 3rd on the inside. That's Captain's Quarters in 4th position. Number Cruncher is 5th. Then it's Ivy Park on the inside, 6th, and Better is Nice. Followed by Mickey Ray and Remember the Alamo. Single file at the half and no right lines yet. Mirage Hanover at 6-5. Hits the half in 55 and 1, caught a breather. Mirage Hanover. 2-hole ride for Gem Quality onto the far turn. Legendary Hanover on the inside 3rd. Captain's Quarters stayed in 4th. Uncovered Ivy Park up on the outside. He is now 4th and trying to gain as they continue towards 3/4. He's tracked by Better is Nice on the outside. Number Cruncher got shuffled to the rear of the field. Then Remember the Alamo and Mickey Ray is now the trailer at 3/4. Mirage Hanover. Gem Quality takes his shot on the outside. 1:22 and 4. 27-3 in that 3rd quarter. Into the stretch drive. And it's Mirage Hanover trying to take them all the way. Gem Quality had a perfect trip. He's got dead aim. And so does Legendary Hanover on the outside, unleashed by James McDonald. Legendary Hanover powers to the top and draws clear. Legendary Hanover. Then Mirage Hanover, Gem Quality, Captain's Quarters, and Number Cruncher in 1:48.
And there you have it. That was elimination number 1, like we had just mentioned. Everybody lined up. It was 1 through 8, and I was able to chat with James McDonald afterwards. He said nobody really wanted to cut the mile in there, and he was really glad. Him and both Tony Beaton were really glad. Legendary Hanover was able to get some sort of ground-saving trip, because it seems like when the big money's on the line, he's always doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, that's right. And the last quarter, incredible. 24 and change to get it done and go by horses. That's amazing. And you could see there, trying to come from anything further back than, say, 5th or 6th when they get a half in 55 and 1 at this level, next to impossible. And not a whole lot to choose. Again, when you watch it closely there, the top 4, I thought all pretty impressive. To be the one on the front and be the target, getting chased down by those colts when they're sprinting like that is no easy task. So I think you've got to give full marks to Mirage Hanover. The pocket sitter, as you said, he's making 3rd start Lasix now, I believe you said, going into the pace. So, you have to think his effort was pretty good last week in the Elim. Legendary, of course, really exploded off cover and seemed to have a little bit left and Captain's Quarters really charged home as well. So, if you've got any one of those 4 heading into the final, the connections of all 4 have to be feeling, I would say, pretty good about their chances.
And another thing, too, even in the other elimination with Legendary Hanover and Captain's Quarters, they've been off, same with Funtime Bama, since the North America Cup final. That's been a couple of weeks now. And I read a few people's comments on Twitter about Captain's Quarters. Jody did ask him a little bit there at the end, but, not overly exerted him to go forward. And I thought he was pretty much pacing out of his skin. Now, does it stink that he does to the outside? Yes. But if they mix it up, do you think he can maybe gun down horses?
Of course, I think he can. It's just a matter of how is Jody going to work out that trip from post number 9. He's going to have to push forward early to get that crucial position that you have to have in a race like this. And what will he have left for a second move? But he's the quality that I think he can use him a couple of times, even when they're going those types of speeds. He showed his durability, of course, in the Pepsi NA Cup, where he was the one being chased down in the late stages. So, he'll be that much better for last week's race too. It came down to just a final quarter sprint, and he'll be on his toes and ready to go this weekend.
All right, elimination number 1 gave us Legendary Hanover, Mirage Hanover, Gem Quality, Captain's Quarters, and Number Cruncher. We'll bring in elimination number 2, where there was a bit more movement there, and it was taken by Nijinsky.
They're off. Captain Luke in blast-off mode on the outside. Captain Albano is away sharply between horses with McCrunch on the inside now second behind a revved up Captain Luke around the first turn. And going up to challenge is Captain Albano. To that one's inside. Nuclear is third. Captain Albano fourth and gaining. Tracked by Nijinsky, fifth in the early going. And then it's Saturday Night and Fun Time by Emma. And Hunting for Chrome is the trailer. First quarter, a dazzling 25 4/5. And it's McCrunch and Yannick Gingras, 7-1. McCrunch takes 3/8 of a mile to clear the lead. Almost clears Captain Luke, who's revved up. And darting up there is Captain Albano. Going up quickly with Nijinsky, now fourth, now third and gaining. A lively flow with Fun Time by Emma, now fifth on the outside. So Nuclear gets shuffled to the rear of the field. Then it's Hunting for Chrome getting underway. It's Saturday Night Trails, 53-1, dazzling half-mile time. Captain Albano in front, and on the outside, Nijinsky lets him have it. Nijinsky just blows right by Captain Albano with 3/8 to go. That leaves Fun Time by Emma uncovered, and right there on the outside second now. As they head by 3/4, it's a live tow as they turn for home for Hunting for Chrome. In with a shot now, and pinned in now is Captain Albano. It is Nijinsky on the inside under intense pressure. Fun Time by Emma on the outside. 1:21 and 1 for 3/4. Hotly contested 3/4 there. It's Fun Time by Emma and Dexter Dunn on the outside. Nijinsky and Louis Waugh on the inside. These two in an epic duel to the wire. The others for minor spoils. Nijinsky on the inside, digging in. A gutsy effort. Nijinsky 6 for 6 to start his season. Then Fun Time by Emma, Captain Albano, and Captain Luke. And it's Saturday Night in 1:47-3. Nijinsky.
1:47-3. It went to Nijinsky, the second Meadowlands Pace elimination. Like I had mentioned, just more fireworks, I guess you can say, than the first one. Plenty of movement, plenty of lead changes, through that middle half.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. To be honest, going into that particular elimination, where it looked like Nijinsky, was the clear front runner going in. Fun Time by Emma was a bit of a question mark, and you weren't sure what to expect from others, but in a race like that, I suppose everybody had the same game plan. They wanted to try and leave and get up close and sit and see what they could get. And it led to a little bit more looping and a real test for Nijinsky, one that he passed with flying colors. And I wouldn't take anything away from Fun Time by Emma either. Very impressive in the debut for the new connections.
Yes, and like I had talked to Andrew Harris, I think it was yesterday, that we went down to the farm, and he was very happy with his performance. He was parked. You never saw a pylon. We'll just get started there. Everybody was, kind of leaving on out of there. And even with Nijinsky, he was parked just about to the half or just past the half as well. So those horses both took a lot of air, and I really think that worked a lot of versatility into Nijinsky, because now we've seen him really do it any which way. And even with Fun Time by Emma, he overcame a tough trip.
He certainly did. And the race that really for me, showed me what kind of quality he was, was the Pepsi NA Cup.
Yes.
He blasted out. He took a bit of a shuffle. He had another rally in the late stages when others were starting to get tired. And, that was impressive. And I thought equally as good last time out in the elimination. So, just tweak the trip scenario a little bit for him and watch out. Fun Time by Emma will be a big player, I think, in the final. But Nijinsky right now, he's come back this year just at a whole other level. He was a really talented colt last year, but he's got so many weapons now that there's no weakness in his game.
Yes, and I had asked Tony Beaton. We did a feature on both Legendary Hanover and Nijinsky. We've posted it on our social media sites, and we'll play it again on Saturday. But, they're both very, very talented horses, like he had kind of mentioned. Maybe Legendary's bigger and stronger, stature-wise, but, Nijinsky has just grown up and really developed. And I think that's, so key nowadays because, people always ask, oh, what's the difference? But, we ask a lot of horses at the age of 2. We ask a lot from the horses at the age of 2. And that just goes to show you that sometimes maturity is just all they need.
Yeah, I think that's exactly, you hit the nail right on the head, I think, when it comes to Nijinsky, right? He had enough of a 2-year-old campaign that he certainly showed that he was going to be a player. I'm not sure, other than the connections who know the horse well, if anybody saw him coming back and being so good this year. But, a lot of times there is that one that jumps up and is kind of that Cinderella story. And he just has all the weapons. And, it was about this time last year where we were starting to see Confederate really separate himself a little bit in the division. I'm not saying we're there yet with Nijinsky, but this Saturday night could be another step, certainly in that direction. And he's so push button, and all top horses have that ability. They're versatile. The drivers can do anything they want with them, and that's why I think he's so dangerous.
All right, we're going to pull up the Meadowlands Pace final still and just kind of maybe run through quickly. Of course, it's Saturday night. Read a quote from Nifty Norman. He said he thought he raced very well. Was kind of in a tough spot there in the cover flow. He really always gives it his all in the last quarter, and hopefully he's not too far out of it.
Yeah, real nice colt, one that anyone would love to have in the barn. Excellent 2-year-old campaign. He's found the going a little bit tougher this season, but I'm sure the connections are ecstatic. With him at odds of 60-1, he kind of outraced those odds last week in the elimination, closing up to be 5th.
Fun Time Bayama, of course, this is a son of He's Watching, who holds the stakes record for the Meadowlands Pace. That'll be second start for the new connections. A good post to boot, off of a parked every step of the way mile.
Yeah, fantastic debut. I'm sure the connections are ecstatic. He'll get a great post to work with here in the final as well. He's 4 for 7. He's a serious colt, and he's shown now that he can go with the very best in North America. We'll see if Dexter Dunn can pick up his first Meadowlands Pace trophy with this guy. And
so will Louis-Philippe Wall. Will try and add a Meadowlands Pace trophy right next to that North America Cup trophy as well. 6 for 6 this season. The last horse to take the North America Cup final and the Meadowlands Pace final was in 2020, but that was reversed. It was Tall Dark Stranger.
Yeah, and very few have ever come into the Meadowlands Pace undefeated in their 3-year-old campaign and been able to extend that with a win in the Meadowlands Pace. So Nijinsky trying to put himself in some very rare company here for Louis-Philippe Wall. He's trying to do something his sire wasn't able to do. Bettor's Delight had the great rivalry, of course, with Real Desire, and he was on the wrong end that night, but he, of course, bounced back and had many great moments, and he sired many champions in his brilliant career, and Nijinsky looks to give him another Meadowlands Pace title.
Mirage Hanover will look to give Tetrick 7 Meadowlands Pace trophies, and I thought it was actually quite interesting, too, last week. He did it on the front end, and we've really just seen this guy gun down horses.
Well, one thing we do know is he is tremendously fast, and we saw that 2 starts back when he was in a 3-year-old open race, and he got the pocket trip on that night, and he was able to sprint home in 24 and 3, and that was one of the fastest ever seen on this particular oval. So he is another formidable looking son of Bettor's Delight in the field.
The first crop of Captain Crunches will be or are the 3-year-old season this year. He has 2 in here. That's Gem Quality and Number Cruncher. Gem Quality gets the winningest post position in Meadowlands Pace history and picks up a new driver.
And this is the Breeders' Crown champion from last year. He won half of his 8, brilliant 2-year-old campaign. Just trying to reach the top level this season, and his last couple have been more encouraging, including that good third-place effort in the elimination, where he just got out-sprinted by a couple there, but 25-1 in the end is definitely a good sign for him.
Legendary Hanover is the son of Huntsville. He was a Meadowlands Pace winner. James McDonald has been having, quite the last couple of seasons. He added another trophy in the winning draw, the driver championship last weekend. Now he will look to get a Meadowlands Pace trophy as well.
Yeah, he's Captain Canada and two-time defending O'Brien Award winner as Canada's Driver of the Year, and starting to make some noise now when he makes these trips into the Big M, and he's got a big chance here. Legendary Hanover trainer Tony Beaton, talking to him last Saturday after the races briefly, said he expected this guy to step up and do something special, and he said he didn't know if that would be good enough to win, but it certainly was in his elimination.
Captain Albano, the Dan Patch Award winner last season for the 2-year-old Pacing Colts, a little bumpy there late in the stretch in his elimination, but was able to gather himself.
If there's a hard luck horse in the field this year, I'd say it's this guy. He just hasn't been able to work out that perfect trip scenario. One of these nights it's going to happen, and I think he's going to be able to surprise at the level. Another one that had a brilliant 2-year-old campaign, and so far he's on track for another solid sophomore season here with young gun Todd McCarthy in the driver's seat.
Captain Luke finishes 2-year-old season with a win in the Governor's Cup. He's trained by Tony Alania. He's by Captain Treacherous. Of course, that was a winning combination just a few years back.
This guy took the big shuffle last time out, kind of reminiscent of the old days a little bit, Jess. The Meadowlands Shuffle, if you will. He was the first leader. He was last on the inside, turning for home, but he was weaving through traffic late and was very good. If he can find his way into the mix early again this week, watch out. Maybe a good player somewhere in the try, and maybe even higher with some racing luck.
Captain's Quarters had 5 starts last season, 2 wins. One of those was the Metro Pace Final. Can he do the double?
I think he's got the quality to do it. It's just a matter of how he's going to do it, I suppose, from post 9. It's not going to be an easy task, but this is a top, and I mean top quality colt for Herb Holland and Jody Jamieson. Jody had some bad luck last year with Stockade Sealster in the elimination for this event. He's in the final this time with one that's a serious player.
And Number Cruncher will have post 10. We'll get Jordan Stratton in the bike. Way earlier on in the season, I was able to catch up with Scott Zeron, and he said this was one of his favorite horses or favorite colts this season. He also outraced his odds at 59-1.
He did. He'll be long odds again this week, though, unfortunately, for post number 10. So I'm sure he'll be trying to sneak in there and get some money in the final, but certainly a tall order to win. But as they say, you got to be in it to win it.
That is the look at the Meadowlands Pace Final, the big one on the night. I know we got plenty of action on Saturday night, but that is a marquee event on Saturday night. It will come in race number 11, but we have plenty of other races we're going to take a look at. But we're first going to take a quick timeout, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at the Del Miller Memorial, the Stanley Dancer Memorials, and the Hamiltonian Maturity.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Alraj Farms, for more than 3 decades, a trendsetter in modern-day trotting. Birthplace of millionaires Fern, Muscles Marinara, Whiskey Tax, and Dewey Color in the Line. Home to top-flight broodmares, including Ice Attraction, Lucky Ava, Non-Stick, 7 Times a Lady, and Cena. Selling 21 yearlings this fall by Chapter 7, Chimpanzee, Walner, Bar Hopping, The Great Muscle Hill, and 3 from the first crop of Hambo winner Captain Corey. For more information, visit us online at alrajfarm.com and on Facebook and Instagram.
Recently, the standardbred racing industry was awarded an appropriation from the New Jersey State Legislature, largely due to the efforts of TrotPac, the New Jersey SPOA, our lobbyists, and the Meadowlands. Not guaranteed on an annual basis, we must work to ensure funding receives that approval. TrotPac has established key relationships with political decision makers to ensure that these appropriations will continue to revitalize horse racing in New Jersey. With your support, TrotPac will continue to provide political fundraising for the harness racing industry. For more, visit SPOANJ.com.
We are back at it in the Meadowlands Pace preview and review show. Jess Scott alongside Greg Blanchard, and we got plenty of people tuning in with us.
Yeah, we do. We're kind of keeping an eye on each of the social media feeds. Yeah, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm on the Facebook feed. We've got Scott was our first viewer from Ohio. Great to have you on board, Scott. Mark Anderson, good friend of all of the shows that we do. Casey Coleman's watching here. Lisa Lafort beaten as well, so they were probably interested to see what our thoughts were on those impressive elimination wins. Antonio Thunder Road Martinez from Florida, and friend of the show, John Rallis.
Oh, there we go.
We saw this past weekend. He was a little upset he was really upset he couldn't be here for that big soccer match midweek right here at MetLife Stadium.
Gosh.
Canada lost anyway.
Yeah,
so.
That's all right. There'll be plenty more soccer games that'll be here over the course of...
They outraced their odds.
Yes.
Making the semifinal.
Yes.
I could say that.
Yes, they did. I saw Casey Coleman was able to go visit Jersey Boy today. The little pony.
Yeah, I think I saw that as well.
Yeah,
I think you're right. That's great, and they have to be excited for this weekend. I can't believe it. Nobody commented on our nice T-shirts.
You have to turn around and show them the back of it at the end of the show. That's the real giveaway. That's going to be our giveaway this Saturday night. First 5,000 guests will get a free Meadowlands Pace T-shirt. All right, we're going to take a look at the Trotters, the Del Miller, the Stanley Dancer, and the Hamiltonian Maturity. We got two divisions of the Del Miller and the Stanley Dancer, and then, of course, the Overflow Field and the Hamble Maturity that goes at an added distance. Comes up later on in the card. The first Del Miller Memorial comes in race number 4. A few horses that I feel like stick out in here or that were standouts, at least last year. That's the 8, Warwie Michelle. She was the Breeders' Crown champion, and Soiree Hanover, who was the Dan Patch Award winner.
Yeah, and I think Warwie Michelle probably needed that last race. It was her seasonal debut in a division of the Zwag at Vernon Downs. Finished 6th on that occasion. So second start out, I expect better for her. Tough post to work with, though. French Champagne, on the other hand, really like the way this one comes in. Had some downtime after winning the Sire Stakes final here on May 31st. Has been off a little over a month, but qualified very sharply in preparation. Looks ready to go. She'll be fresh and fit, and this is a talented lass.
That is the next horse I was actually going to ask you about was French Champagne. She was very, very good in that New Jersey Sire Stake final, saving ground, but she definitely had a nice sprint home, and I thought that would definitely kind of segue her into her next start, and they ended up giving her some time off. I thought it was a very solid qualifier. Of course, Tetrick opted for Soiree Hanover, who is another one they figured would need to start coming into these bigger stake races.
For sure, and Cool Ma Belle's another one that's a little bit intriguing. She's fallen on hard times in her last couple of starts making breaks, so we'll see if a change of venue here to the Big M, if she can recapture some of the talent she showed last year in a brief 2-year-old campaign for trainer Mark Stacey, driver Bob McClure. They'll be hoping for, of course, a big night at the office. I want to quickly say hi to John, tuning in all the way from Ireland. Fantastic.
Wow,
Not even
awesome.
going to attempt your last name, John. My apologies. And I've got the contacts in, so my eyesight's not that great anyway. But thanks for watching, John, and everybody tuning in on the broadcast.
Yes, we definitely appreciate it. Worldwide, it sounds like. Much appreciated. Race 13 is the other division of the Del Miller Memorial. I think this is a very solid, another solid group of 3-year-old filly trotters. You have By Around, who was a New Jersey Sire Stakes winner, last year, was scratched in the final this year. She comes off of a very dominant win on a night where it downpoured right before that race. Yeah,
it was great to see her bounce back right after being scratched on May 31st, given that month off, but bounce back with a really impressive win in the division of the Reynolds. So she'll be a factor here. She's 2 for 3 so far this season after going 6 for 9 last year in a really solid rookie campaign. Allegiance one that's come back really well this year. Post 3 for the Vernon Beachy trainee with the money man Scott Zeron. This one comes in on a bit of a roll.
Yes, that was a very, very solid effort in the moneymaker at Scioto Downs with Hunter Myers in the bike. She just did it very easily. She was in a lot of those big money races last year, including the Mohawk Million, where she was third behind TCI and Tennessee Tom. A few others maybe just to kind of touch on a bit in here. Honey Sweet coming out of the Reynolds division of Buy Around. I thought she raced very well. And a horse that really intrigues me in here is R. Molina. She had such a solid season last year. Last 2 starts, she hasn't been able to get off the gate.
Yeah, it's a bit of a head scratcher at times. And, these trainers of these youngsters, it's got to be very trying, very frustrating, put some gray hairs on them over the course of a season, especially when you know they've got so much talent to work with. But Allegiant, no such issues for her right now. I like her a lot in that second split on our Pick 4 tickets that we send in ahead of time. I know I've got her as a single in that leg as well.
And, Date Night Hanover, I thought raced very well in this WAG. Upset win from slightly off the pace. She got away in the middle of the pack. Now she'll have to navigate through post 9, but I still thought it was a very solid effort. And, not to forget about it either, but, this is like one of the last stops before the Hamiltonian Oaks and the Hamiltonian eliminations.
Exactly. That's what makes this night so much fun.
Yeah.
We're focused on the Meadowlands Pace first and foremost. We've got the Haughton Memorial races for the older performers as well, but we are starting to think Hamiltonian. It's not that far away.
No.
And
where'd summer go?
It's incredible. It's incredible. We haven't gotten enough beach days in yet. You look
not.
like you have. They were joking about how pale I look beside you on set. So
I live at a house with a pool, so that
does
help.
Been enjoying the summer, but it is flying by. But it's so much fun. It really is a whirlwind at this time of year. This month or so period here at the Big M, there's nothing like it.
There isn't. It's full force ahead until that first Saturday in August. The Stanley Dancer Memorials come in race 6 and 8, and of course in race 6 we have Carl.
Yeah, the race appears to start and end with Carl when you're talking about top contenders. He's done everything that's been asked of him so far this season. It's always fun from a fan perspective when you get a horse like this with such a high profile coming in, so much anticipation, expectations are high, and especially when they live up to it. He's got an undefeated streak on the line this year, 4 for 4 coming in, beaten only once last year. And he's done it in fairly convincing fashion. I mean, he hasn't been turning in those big blowout victories, but I'm sure the connections are quite happy with that. They want to make sure that he's as good as they can have him heading into the Hamiltonian. So he's clearly the horse to beat in that first elimination, or first division, I should say, which in fact I think comes up a little bit easier of the two.
I was going to say that as well. Give me an exacta. Who do you like? Obviously, there's going to be a price underneath.
I'm going to go with Dame Good Time for Travis Alexander, the trainer, and driver Scott Zeron. They were Johnny on the spot, if you will, in that Zwag division on July 4th at Vernon Downs that produced the big upset. TCI kind of beat himself at the start of that race. Dame Good Time and the Money Man took full advantage and got it done, and has kind of quietly been putting together an excellent sophomore campaign so far in 5 starts.
Yes, very solid. In the right place, too, in that Zwag final, or the Zwag up at Vernon Downs when TCI, like you had mentioned, made a break. Race 8 is the other division of the Stanley Dancer Memorial, and I feel like this one is stacked from head to toe. TCI, of course, second on the road to the Hamiltonian, and Ken Workington's road to the Hamiltonian. I'm excited to see Highland Kismet south of the border. You have Situationship, who made a break behind the gate in that Yonkers Trot to finish second. And an interesting horse shipping in from Indiana.
Yeah, his name is Gruesome Twosome. I love the name, first of all. Daryl Bontrager trains and drives. I'm not familiar with Daryl, I have to admit, but he's obviously done a wonderful job with this 3-year-old trotting colt who did win 5 of 9 last year in Indiana, banked a little over $225,000. Perfect in 3 this season. It looks like he has a world of talent and adds a whole other layer of intrigue to the field, and that's what we talked about earlier. This is one of my favorite races of the night to watch. TCI, we know what we're getting there, and really it's just a question, are we going to see a nice bounce back from him? The connections will want to get him back into the win column and back in the right frame of mind. Highland Kismet, I've seen a lot of him north of the border, I can tell you. He is a serious colt, and all things are equal, and he shipped down well and acclimates well. I think he'll be heard from. At Situationship is a serious colt as well.
Yeah, actually, after making that little miscue behind the gate, and then he was, able to powerhouse and couldn't quite get by Sir Pinocchio there, but I still thought it was a very solid effort. He's 2 wins from 3 starts this season. And another horse that intrigues me as well is a horse that starts from the rail, I never say this right.
Caballero? Or
yeah,
Caballero?
but you say it with an accent. Yeah. Dave Little, I can never say it right. So I think that horse has been, kind of quietly making some headway and really putting a step in the right direction. Lightly raced, obviously, with just 1 start last year. A few blemishes on the program page, but it looks like they got this guy kind of figured out here.
Yeah, I would agree. He's got, lots of talent that we've seen on display here of late as well. The focus coming into the year, understandably, was solely on TCI and Carl, and everybody kind of thought it's just a foregone conclusion. It's going to be one of these two to win the Hamiltonian this year, and it very well could be one of those. It likely will be one of them. They're 2 outstanding colts, but some others I think have quietly made some noise here, and it just makes for, I think, a more interesting next 2 to 3 weeks. A lot we'll find out a lot this Saturday night about what we're really dealing with.
Yeah, like I had mentioned, this is like the last major step before the Hamiltonian Oaks and Hamiltonian eliminations, and it's pick and choose kind of where you want to race, what kind of starts you want to get into your horses under your horse's belt, because you don't really over race them before those 2 weeks.
Absolutely not. That's the key. We've heard it over the years, time and time again, especially from trainers that have had the experience many times of getting horses pointed toward the Hambo, and that's the goal, right? Is to have them peaking at just that right time, and it doesn't take much to derail those plans. We've seen that over the years as well. So it seems easy when you get a horse like that. Everybody thinks it's it's just easy to get a great horse and to get them there and win, but it's not. There's a lot there, right? And you've got to make sure, and it's a fine margin of error as well, or a fine line between winning and winning at the top level, and if you're just not quite 100% on your game, the other colts are just a half step behind, and they'll be there to pick up the pieces. So you've got to have them right at the top of their game, no matter which ones you're talking about. Management
is definitely key and plays a major role into that. So that's kind of, I guess, maybe a preview of what we'll see in a couple of weeks for the Hamiltonian Oaks and Hamiltonian eliminations. Race number 9 on Saturday night is the Hamiltonian Maturity, and we saw a handful of these horses race last year in the Hamiltonian. This is for 4-year-old trotters. It goes at a distance of 1 1/8 miles, and we got a couple mares taking on the boys in here.
Yeah, and another thing to consider with this race is we've got a field of 12, right? So a couple of trailers in there, including Post 11 starter Winner's Bet, who has been a real monster coming back this season. Talk about hitting another level early on. In fact, a 49-3 winner 2-back. Now, last week had to work a little bit harder than expected, and the margin of victory not quite as impressive. He didn't look quite as dominant, so it just leaves that just a little bit of doubt, if you will, or hope, I should say, for other horses in the field. Really well-balanced group. You could go in a lot of different directions. Hasty Bid looked very good first couple of starts down here this season, but not quite as strong in the final of the Graduate last time out either. So, can he bounce back? Special Way, the mare. That's one that I think will be heard from in a big way Saturday.
Yes, there's so many talking points, I guess we could say in here. With Winner's Bet, I think he was just maybe not coming quick enough, I guess you could say, with too much ground to make up there, and he was really game at the wire. And along with Hasty Bid, I had to go back and watch that replay again, because when I was standing there, I remember seeing him maybe gap a little bit early in the stretch, and then late in the stretch, it was like he came back on again. So I had to go back and watch that and kind of look at that. And oh well, we saw him take a step off of the gate, I guess I should say, after racing well. An interesting horse in here is French Wine. This one's been racing down at Oak Grove. 3 wins from 7 starts this season so far. He took a mark of 50 in Lexington last year, post 12. I think with these overflow fields, people kind of forget, one, you got to stay out of traffic in that first turn, and 2, those 2 horses are going to start from, obviously behind the other one. So you want to hopefully start by somebody who can get forwardly placed off the gate so you don't get away 11th and 12th.
And you're kind of at the mercy of what the horses in front of you do.
Right.
And that'll make it just that much more challenging for a winner's bet. But I think he's up to it. Looking back to last week's race, he kind of had every excuse not to win, but he found a way to win. So that's a good sign, too, that, this horse has really developed into a top older player. But I think a more challenging task in front of him Saturday with the trailing post. Special Way, on the other hand, hasn't been able to win yet in 3, but I take nothing away from her, and I think she can definitely compete in here, and I'm calling for her for the W Saturday.
I don't know who I picked on top, actually, so I can't agree or disagree with you.
I just think having
her
nose on the gate for me was
so
just sort of the ultimate tipping point.
Another one I just want to quickly ask you about. Call Me Goo was an Armborough flight winner at Woodbine Mohawk Park. That final 26-4. In the 6-pack, they went 58-2 to the half, so it's going to be a little difficult to make up ground.
Absolutely. Legitimate effort north of the border. She raced very well there. Second start back here on home soil, if you will, and I think Call Me Goo with post 2, that rhymes, will be a big factor as well.
All right, that's a look at the Hamiltonian maturity. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we got the Pacers to look at: the Jerry Silverman Memorial, the Dorothy Houghton, and the William Houghton Memorial.
We are athletes. We are drivers. We are caretakers. We are owners. We are trainers. We are fans. We are harness racing.
On FanDuel Casino, you can play casino floor classics right on your phone, like FanDuel's exclusive World of Wonka or Buffalo. Rich Little Piggies, and more. Plus, you'll get up to $1,000 back in casino bonus on any first day net loss. That's what you get with the #1 rated casino app. Sign up for FanDuel Casino and get up to $1,000 back to play it again.
The greatest day in harness racing happens Saturday, August 3rd at the Meadowlands Racetrack. Over $3.2 million in stakes races, including the top 3-year-old filly trotters and colt trotters in the $500,000 Hamiltonian Oaks and $1 million Hamiltonian. Enjoy the hat giveaway, live music by the Craig Saylor Project, carnival rides and games, food trucks, pony rides, and more. Doors open at 10 a.m., first race at 12 noon. Details and tickets at playmeadowlands.com. Must be 18 or older to wager. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We're back in the Meadowlands Pace review preview show. Jess Scott alongside Greg Blanchard, and we have an action-packed 14 race card on July 13th coming up this Saturday. We're going to get right into it. The newly renamed Jerry Silverman Memorial was formerly known as the Mistletoe Shelley. Unfortunately, we lost Jerry earlier this season, but it's kind of cool to see his grandson, Brett Beckwith, on the racing scene.
Yeah, and you talk about an up-and-comer in the game.
Yeah.
Brett seems to be the next big thing on the driver's side. I'm hearing lots of great things about him. And Jerry Silverman, what an amazing career he had. So very fitting and a nice honor that they would have a race of this caliber named in his honor.
Very fitting, because we have amazing 3-year-old fillies in both of these divisions. The first division is race number 5, and we're going to see the 3 Diamonds winner, Caviar Bell, from post 8 out of the Nancy Tactor Barn. Elimination winner of Can I Get a Loop Loop in the Fan Hanover. Pass Line, who's been very, very good north of the border as well.
there's no standout in the field for sure. Passline, one of those that had a phenomenal rookie campaign. She won 10 of 13 starts. She was busy. She was productive. She paced under 150, one of the fastest, I believe maybe the fastest 2-year-old filly of all time in Canada for an Ontario sired filly in winning there. And she's come back good this year. Has found the going a little bit tougher though, just 1 for 7 coming in. Narrow loss last time at Scioto in a division of the Nadia Lobel. Sarasota Hanover next door to her is one that I would I think should be one of the favorites, one of the 2 or 3 favorites going in for Team Toscano and driver Scott Ziron. She was another big player last year in the 2-year-old division that's just starting, I think, to hit her best stride.
And another interesting horse in here is the horse from Post 7, a Sweet Beach here. Newer acquisition to the Andrew Harris barn this season. She's got 1 win from 4 starts, but it was a 50 and 3 mile at Pocono Downs.
That's, just one of several that you could look at here. It's a field of 9 in this one, all capable of probably pacing in that 48 and change to 50 range. There's not much to choose between them, so it'll be one of the better betting races of the night. Not to mention from a fan standpoint with the Grand Circuit 3-year-old filly squaring off.
Very, very competitive. That one is race number 5. Race 12 is the other division of the Jerry Silverman Memorial, and we're going to see the Fan Hanover winner, It's a Love Thing, tee up with Post 5, James McDonald for David Maneri, and then Post 10, Geocentric, Brian Brown, Tim Tetrick. She was a Dan Patch Award winner.
Well, and just before we dive too much into this, Jess, I want some of these people that are watching online to give us their thoughts. We'd love to hear their picks. We've got Derek Givner on there, Kenny Warrington, Chris Sawa from Michigan. They'll have some strong opinions, so let us know here on the chat so we have time to check those out before we wrap up. But this one here, I think there's a couple for me that are a little bit, I'm not going to call them standouts, but that I'll lean heavily toward. My girl EJ, and I like the fact that last year at 2, I would have rated her probably in the top 3 or 4 in North America, and I'd rate her in the exact same spot so far this season. I think she's really come back well. It's a Love Thing, on the other hand, next door. She's sort of been able to springboard past her stablemate Passline. She played second fiddle to some extent last year. This is a top filly in her own right, but overshadowed a bit by Passline. I think it's the opposite scenario this year. She stepped up and really made her presence felt. This Daughter of Better's Delight, just one of many top fillies for Canadian-based trainer Dave Maneri that he's had over his career. And
Flawless is another Nancy Tactor trainee, daughter of Captain Treacherous, 4 for 7 so far this season. She took a new lifetime market here as Philadelphia last time out in a division of the Pennsylvania Sire Stakes, 149 and 3. There's a lot of ones on her program page as well.
There certainly is, and what I like is that she's been testing the waters here and there against the best Grand Circuit fillies. 3 back at Mohawk Park, I should say, in the Fan Hanover final. Post 10 really sealed her fate. She did everything she could do. She paced at 49 and 2. She was home in 25 and 4. What did that get her? A 7th place finish. That just shows you how talented these fillies are. But to bounce back, her last 2 have been close to flawless. And she could step up here and maybe play a little bit of a giant killer, if you will, on the 2 that I like, My Girl EJ and It's a Love Thing.
What do we make of Geocentric in her 3-year-old season? The only blemish she had in her 2-year-old season was in that Breeders' Crown final, 9 for 10 last season. She's got a win on this season so far. She was ahead behind My Girl EJ in the Fan Hanover elimination. Didn't come up quite as good in the final. She was second again behind My Girl EJ.
It's so difficult. I mean, last year she was undefeated, as you said, 9 for 9 going into the Crown. She got beat fair and square on the night, but you just didn't know what to expect coming back this season. I think expectations are still quite high. She hasn't met them. I'm not ready to jump off the bandwagon, but Post 10 is not going to be an easy assignment because of the amount of talent that is to her inside on this particular night. So I think she'll get things rolling, and and sometimes it's a case of they don't always come back as good at 3 as they were at 2. It's not automatic, and we're now, this is going to be start number 5, so we're well into the campaign, and it's time that I'm sure the Connections will be hoping to see her perform a little better against the Grand Circuit level.
Yeah, and I do feel like sometimes even 3 to 4 older horses, or I guess any age, sometimes they do need a racing start or 2 under their belt just to kind of get their legs underneath of them and race themselves, I guess you could say, back into race shape. So that's a look at the 3-year-old pacing fillies, the Jerry Silverman Memorials. Up next is the open pacing mares. That comes as race number 7, the Dorothy Houghton Memorial, and we get to see Twin Bee Joe Fresh and Sylvia Hanover face off again. Love that face off.
Yeah, this has just been incredible. And this division this year, with the additions of those 2 into the mix now, the depth is incredible. And the older pacing mare division over the years at many points has been my favorite to watch. So many hard hitters, and I think back to the days of like Eternal Camnation and Bunny Lake and that era, and we're looking at something very special again here. Grace Hill, no slouch. Twin Bee Joe Fresh, of course, has been the now horse this season. She was in the shadows of Sylvia Hanover last year. I'd say it's the exact opposite this year. And Silver Label, it was around this time last year that she kind of surprised, I think, certainly people south of the border when she invaded and was very impressive, winning in 47 and change.
Yeah, she was an upset winner in the Perfect Sting. I think she even had post 11 there last season, and even her effort in the Perfect Sting this year, she's the one that came up on the rail. It was Sylvia Hanover and Twin Bee Joe Fresh who were on the outside. That kind of just had maybe a bit more momentum coming for home. I thought Sylvia Hanover, I know she's 0-for-5 on the season, but I really thought last week, I mean, she's got 4 second-place finishes, don't get me wrong, but I really feel as if last week we saw the old Sylvia.
She was all fight, and, took a lot to go by her. So, a couple of trains of thought. People are going to think, well, did Twin Bee Joe Fresh, need that entire stretch to go by? Or was it just Dexter, measuring it? She had to work hard, but I don't think there was ever a point where there was any real doubt she was going to go by. Now, if the roles are reversed, right now as Sylvia Hanover starts to get better with every start, you have to think she could make it awfully close and maybe go by Twin Bee Joe Fresh. And, if those 2 hook up earlier than anticipated, then you've got to watch out for your Grace Hills, your Silver Label. Silver Label showed last week that she had a lot of interest late in the mile. She looked more like the Silver Label we saw here last year.
I have to agree with you on that. And another horse that's kind of intriguing too, maybe 2 other horses. Always Be Naughty was the Roses Are Red Elimination winner, and she was and she was 3rd in the final behind Twin Bee Joe Fresh and Sylvia Hanover. And Strong Poison is really going to show us what she's made of. She's been racing down in Lexington, Kentucky, or not Lexington, Oak Grove, and then she went to Scioto Downs, just got beat in the Open there. She's 4-for-7 on the season. She gets Lasix again back added to her. She can't race at that down in Kentucky, but I think she throws some stuff into the mix, as well as Zanata coming out of that group.
Yeah, when you're facing a group like this, outstanding world-class type mares tend to get overlooked and not talked about, and you almost feel guilty for not doing it. And that's going to be the case here. You're outside 3 horses, great mares in their own right, but there's just so many weapons toward the inside here that it's hard to figure that one of those could step up and win. But I agree, Always Be Naughty, I think it really announced her presence in this division at Mohawk Park in that elimination that night. And Strong Poison, she'll be a player, very, very talented young filly. She's another millionaire in the group, and she'll add some serious dollars to that bankroll this year.
All right, that is the Dorothy Houghton Memorial. That kicks off, that is race number 7, I guess I should say. And the final race we're going to take a look at is race number 10. It's the William Houghton Memorial for the Open Pacers. We have a field of 11 in here, and I guess the question is here, is the Bucket Bet going to go back-to-back, or is Vukafalis going to go back-to-back?
That's a great question, and that's what makes it an interesting race. So, yeah, for the folks watching online, first of all, let us know what you think. Love to hear what people think. Who was more impressive? they're leaving right beside each other Saturday night. It doesn't get much more intriguing than that. I've gone to a Buck-a-Bet Hanover just simply because he's the veteran. He's been around these racing wars. He's as sharp. I think he looks as sharp in the last couple of weeks as I've ever seen him. There don't appear to be any Bulldog Hanovers and the like to deal with this year. So is this the year that a Buck-a-Bet finally kind of breaks out and it's his year? And it was so good to see him get the big win last time out. A very deserved one for him in the Brower. And Vukafalis, I would say almost identical situation that, he's had to race sort of in the shadows of some other colts last year. And, the season didn't quite go the way that we thought it might for him entering the campaign. But boy, has he come back strong here at age 4. And really nice for him in the connections to see him get that the big marquee win last time in the Graduate, and he couldn't have looked a whole lot better.
With the Buck-a-Bet Hanover, after that race, Andrew Harris said, it's a stacked group of horses, and it's really going to come down to the trip. And he got that trip, a good trip into that Brower Memorial, but you can't be too far out of it in these races. And I feel as if, a Buck-a-Bet, we saw him as a younger horse come from well off of the pace, and now he's really worked some speed into him early in the mile, and I think that's a very a good advantage point for him. As for Vukafalis, the Graduate Series is for 4-year-olds, and it's kind of, to help them race against 4-year-olds before taking on these older groups, and I think that's exactly what Vukafalis accomplished, was racing well in the 4-year-old division of the Graduate to enter into the big boys.
Great point. I think it sets him up perfectly for this next test, and it's not that much stiffer a test than what he faced in the Graduate, but there were some salty veterans, including a Buck-a-Bet Hanover, that he's going to have to deal with, and so much speed toward the outside of the gate too. That's going to make it interesting with It's My Show. Tarasi, who last time just never got involved here, that's not his game. When he's been dominant at Mohawk, it's been right on the front end, and Ruthless Hanover, same thing. He's a different horse when he can get loose on the lead, and he's got post 10. So if they're blasting from the outside, they should help set the table for a horse like a Buck-a-Bet Hanover, maybe Charlie May or Vukafalis.
I was just going to say Charlie May was the upset winner in this last season. I thought he charged home very strongly in the Brower Memorial. Allywag Hanover was just maybe a little flat, maybe a little disappointing to me in the Brower.
I would say the same thing. I would say almost this last entire year for Allywag has just been a touch disappointing compared to the Allywag that we have seen in the past. I keep kind of waiting for him to break out here and string together a bunch of wins like we have seen before. And I feel like he's the type that's going to make the horse players pay some night by, they finally get off his bandwagon, and then he's going to jump up probably and get it done. Having said that, some of our folks on here did pick. We did have a pick for Allywag Hanover. John O'Callaghan.
Oh, okay.
O'Callaghan. He actually gave me the correct pronunciation, from Ireland. Almostly right, likes Vukafalis in that one. And Scott Tarleton from Ohio is going with the local favorite there in Charlie May.
I got one. Marios Lanny says, "Let's go Funtime Bayama." So we got one vote for Funtime Bayama.
I think fun is the right word.
Yeah.
Saturday night is going to be fun.
All right, speaking of fun, we're going to take a quick timeout, and when we come back, we're going to talk about everything fun that's going to happen on Meadowlands Pace night.
Harness Racing Update is the sport's most comprehensive and timely news source. HRU covers the sport from all angles with news, features, photography, opinion, and analysis of racing. Also, HRU covers breeding and sales, as well as industry stories you need to know. It's all delivered by a deep, diverse, and talented team of writers and photographers. And the best news is that it's free to subscribe. Subscribe to HRU today for free at harnessracingupdate.com. and see what everyone is talking about.
Master harness racing with the power of DRF Harness. It's a must for every standard-bred player. Read fresh stories from award-winning writers like Jay Bergman, Derek Givner, and more. Raise your game with best-in-class harness IPPs and analysis from top tracks. Visit drf.com/harness to sign up for the free DRF Harness Digest newsletter and get informed today.
Saturday, July 13th is the biggest party in harness racing, the Meadowlands Pace, only at the Meadowlands Racetrack. First race is 6:20 p.m. with over 2.4 million in stakes races featuring the world's best pacers. Come out for a free Pace Be With You t-shirt, taste delicious burgers in our annual Best Burger Food Truck Battle, and play carnival games. Plus enjoy great music by DJ Alex. Visit playmeadowlands.com for burger battle, live racing, and dining details. Must be 18 or older to wager. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
As Sam McKee once said, the Meadowlands Pace Trophy is one of the best trophies in harness racing, and that's going to go to someone new connections this Saturday night. We've got a few talking points that we're going to bring up and talk about. Beaton's boys look formidable. Nijinsky and Legendary Hanover. He's got 2 solid shots Saturday night.
Does he ever? And he said that. I read an article out on him this week, and he said just such an honor to be here with not 1 but 2 colts of this caliber. Swept both eliminations as solid a 1-2 punch as a trainer has brought to this race in a long, long time.
Bettor's Delight still producing champions. I think he's as old as I am.
You're right. And yeah, it was 2001 when he was upended by his arch rival, Real Desire. But in the breeding shed, he really has no equal and could add another victory to his credits in this big race.
Nijinsky was 1 win from 10 starts last season. He's entering this season into the Meadowlands Pace 6 for 6, undefeated. He's a son of Bettor's Delight.
He is. So we talked about, the history that could be made with Bettor's Delight and Nijinsky. We talked about it earlier as well. One of the rare horses that comes in undefeated form, trying to continue an undefeated season, sophomore season, I should say, right through the Meadowlands Pace.
King James making his mark. He's had a tremendous, last couple of years. Can he add a Meadowlands Pace trophy to his trophy case?
He certainly could, and he's driving now with the confidence. He broke through in Canada a few years back and has really become the dominant reinsman north of the border. 2-time O'Brien Award winner as Canada's best. He's now a 2-time national driving champion, and he's a former world driving champion. And now showing that he can compete on the Grand Circuit, doesn't shy away from the big moments, and has a big opportunity at his first Meadowlands Pace title.
Bill Pollock and Bruce Arman put up a lot of money over the last couple of years in supporting the Andrew Harris barn. This will be Funtime Bayama's second start in the Andrew Harris barn. And one thing he always preaches is how grateful he is for those owners backing him over the last couple of years. It could be a fun Saturday night for them.
It certainly could, and I think it has been a very fun time for Andrew, as you said. Hooking up particularly with this ownership group is really going to help not kickstart, but help propel, I think, his training career. And he's been at this a long time. And interesting as well, when you look at this race, both Andrew, Tony Beaton, former assistant trainers for Casey Coleman. So, that entire connection here, very prominent this year.
And the winners could take home a new trophy. Tetrick looking for number 7 with Mirage Hanover.
Incredible. If he wins, it's a number 7 in terms of pace titles. That would equal the great, the one and only John Campbell.
Captain's Quarters will look for that pace double, the Metro Pace and the Meadowlands Pace.
A very rare thing to accomplish as well. So Captain's Quarters, I think he's got the ability to do it. It's just a matter of whether Jody can map out the winning trip from Post 9.
The last time a horse took home the North America Cup and the Meadowlands Pace final was in 2020. It was backwards, took home the Pace, then the North America Cup. Nijinsky's going to look to do that this year.
And big chance to do it, no question. A lot of people, in fact, think he will do just that. Gem Quality looking for the rare Breeders' Crown Meadowlands Pace double.
Yes, and he was an upset winner in the Breeders' Crown last season as well. They get the winningest post position to work with. That's post number 5. As you look and see, Gingras did pick up that drive as Dexter Dunn sticks with Funtime Bayama.
And it gives Dexter a good shot at his first Pace trophy as well. Hard to believe, really, that Dexter hasn't got one already. It seems like he's won everything in short order.
He was close with Bettor's Wish a few years back.
He was.
hopefully, or I guess maybe he could get that Pace trophy this season. We had mentioned Saturday night is going to be a fun-filled, no pun intended, with fun time Vayama there. But we do want to mention that our wagering menu has changed. So we'll bring up a still just to show you guys, and make sure you check out the program and our social media platforms. We got 3 pick fours on Saturday night.
There really is something for everybody on this night. The horse players, the casual fans, and those just want to come out for a night of entertainment. But for the horse players, indeed, there it is. 3 pick 4 opportunities. The early one starts in the 4th. There will be a second one starting in race number 8 as well. And there we go. Race 11 and 14. Okay, I even fooled myself. There's so many wagers to pick from there. So I knew I was right. I said, am I dreaming? 3 pick 4 opportunities as mentioned, and then those popular pick 5 opportunities, 2 of those as well.
Yes, 20-cent pick 5 wagers, races 1 and 10. We have 2 10-cent high 5 wagers, 7 and 11. And we have a pick 6 in race 6 and a survivor pick 7 in race 3. Of course, those 2 guarantees on the 2 of the pick 4s, race 4 and race number 8. All stakes picks 4s there. So it'll be very interesting and exciting to see.
I will predict they will blow through those guarantees, and I think you're going to be playing into massive pools all night.
I definitely agree with you. And you have a chance to win a win bet on Pace Night as well. You'll have to check out the program to get your voucher, or to get your your entry form, where you will be able to scan the QR code on your screen. 5 winners will be selected in after race number 4 for a $500 win bet.
$500 each?
Yeah.
Wow.
They get $500 to win, or they get a $500 voucher to place $500 to win on a horse.
On the Meadowlands Pace?
On any race after 4.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's a great prize.
Yes, must be present to do that. So
the gift that could keep on giving.
Exactly. So you can cash there in the Meadowlands on Meadowlands Pace Night as well. But you got to make sure you're here early on Meadowlands Pace Night if you want to match us in our Meadowlands Pace T-shirts. I'll turn around and show you what the back of it looks like. I think that's the coolest part of it. It's a Pace.
Oh, nice. Yeah. May the pace be with you.
Pace be with you. There you have it. 5 p.m. it begins. First 5,000 guests will be able to pick up a Pace Be With You shirt. And one more thing as well, you and Dave will have all the action covered on the desk in-house. Mike Carter will be in the back paddock and covering the FanDuel action. And we're going to be live on national TV again. I'll have Gabe Pruitt. I got to steal him away from my sister this weekend. They made me go solo last weekend. We'll be live on Fox Sports 2 from 8 to 11. Great to continue to have national coverage, not only here at the Big End, but across in the sport as well.
That's fantastic. You guys always do an amazing job on there. Great to have Gabe back in town to help out on the big night as well. It's going to be great to see colleague Dave Little back. He was a little under the weather last weekend. He's been home resting up, getting ready to go. And that's going to be a lot of fun. And then isn't there a burger battle?
Oh, yes, the burger food trucks. I think we got like 30 food trucks coming.
What's your perfect burger? Maybe
it just has to have
burger
the good melted cheese on it. I don't want a good warm burger with a cold piece of cheese.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
With just ketchup. I'm a
like
plain
you.
gal.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Just good. Use good beef. Nice piece of cheese. Maybe some pickles on top.
Yeah. I do like some pickles. Yeah. And there'll be plenty more out there as well. We got some ice cream trucks as well. So I think there's like 30 food trucks. So come hungry if you're coming to the track.
Absolutely.
There you have it. You can enter to win a seat at the judges table as well. The food trucks will be out there from 5 to 11. Plenty of burgers for you to taste and try. Plenty of food trucks as well.
And I know, I should say, John Rallis, I know, is very disappointed. He's going to miss the burger battle because his family owns a restaurant.
Yes, he does.
And he was saying that homemade burgers are one of the things they specialize in.
Oh, I did not know that.
So next time you're in Toronto, make sure to stop by. But we'll be in good shape this weekend here.
Yeah, we will be. I might have to bring my outfit and change it in later and hit the food trucks up first so I don't spill anything on me. All right, so one last thing, I guess 2 last things. One, what are you looking forward to on Saturday night?
Meadowlands Pace race, of course. I want to see if Nijinsky can, in fact, remain undefeated. Are we looking at something special again in the 3-year-old Pace and Colt division with a colt that could remain undefeated? And then both of those Hamiltonian preps, I should say, in the Stanley Dancer. Watching Carl in person again. I haven't seen him in quite some time. I'm excited about that. And that other division, to see who's kind of going to emerge from that as maybe a contender as we look toward the Hamble.
I think that race will really decide who moves in the road to the Hamiltonian, because the last couple of weeks I feel like it's kind of just stayed the same.
Right, exactly. And there was the first little bump in the road comes for TCI in the Zwag, but he's got lots of time to atone, get things back on the right track, and we'll see if he can do that here Saturday.
All right, my next question for you is, who did you pick to win the North America Cup?
The North America Cup, I didn't pick Nijinsky. I'm trying to think who I did pick. I picked against him that night. I might have picked Legendary Hanover.
Oh, okay. I was just curious. So are you going to go with Nijinsky?
I'm all on Nijinsky. He's so versatile. I just don't know how he'll get tripped up. It's just a case of, in this past week, just making sure that he's healthy and comes into the race. The Nijinsky we saw from the eliminations last weekend. So I just don't see a scenario where he's really vulnerable. If someone beats him, they're going to have to simply step up their game and beat him fair and square.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I actually did pick Nijinsky in the North America Cup final, and I'm going to stick with them in the Meadowlands Pace final as well. I do have Mike Russo said, hey, Greg and Jess, do you have any other ones before we sign off on there? Any other?
On here? Well, this is a burger question.
Oh, okay.
Asking, are there any exotic burgers there like bison? I'm going to say probably.
Probably.
Yeah. It's a burger battle. I mean, I think you're going to see everything.
I know the first year that I worked here and I was a judge for the burger battle, I accidentally ate the whole first burger, and I had like 8 more to taste it.
Rookie move.
That. And it was tough. But the one of them had a burger, but it was fried mozzarella as the cheese on it, and it was so good.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to see the best of the best in horse flesh here this weekend. We're going to see the best of the best in burgers too.
Yes, we are. All right, just a couple of reminders as well. We do have live racing tomorrow night, 6:20 p.m. We have baby races in the morning. You'll be calling those at 10 a.m. We got the first leg of the New Jersey Sire Stakes tomorrow night, so that'll be really exciting to see some of those freshman horses take the stage for the first time. 6:20 p.m. tomorrow, 6:20 p.m. on Saturday night. Of course, 14 race cards both nights. You can always check out our website for our event calendar and program pages, free program pages underneath of the handicapping tab. Our social media platforms has everything and anything you could imagine to get you ready for this weekend and upcoming weekends, along with our picks and tickets and our thoughts. And I think that's how we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for driving down a day early to do this.
Absolutely. It's been a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Can't wait for Saturday night either. Thanks for tuning in to the Meadowlands Review and Preview Show.